Hey everybody, Alex Kozora, SteelersDepot.com, back with some more Pittsburgh Steelers recap and analysis. The Pittsburgh Steelers score a big 24-21 win over the Minnesota Vikings in Dublin, Ireland. Pittsburgh 3-1, heading into their bye week. Let's talk about it. Before we start, if you guys could like this video, subscribe to the channel, and check out the site, SteelersDepot.com. I would really appreciate that. Off the top, you guys know me picking games. I thought Minnesota would win handily. Pittsburgh was in control of this one for the first 50 minutes, so you're welcome. I have done my job. I picked against Pittsburgh to make sure they win. I'm playing the long game here, so yeah, I know I'll get comments about that, and rightfully so I'm addressing that up front. But to the game itself, by and large, Pittsburgh played its best game of the season. Should it have been that close in the end? Should it have come down to the final drive and last couple plays? Absolutely not, but it's the Pittsburgh Steelers. You know what you're signing up for. Nothing comes easy when you're watching this team. The Steelers do not win comfortably. They win, but by narrow margins. But overall, this was a good game by Pittsburgh against a quality opponent under the circumstances of playing internationally and the difficulties that come along with that. Yes, both teams have to deal with that, but Minnesota is 4-0 all-time, now 4-1, but were 4-0 all-time in international games. They played in London last year. They had more exposure to it than Pittsburgh had in recent years, and so it's really hardy to get this kind of win and to win in a different manner offensively. Aaron Rodgers, good game. The numbers aren't huge, but 18-22, 200 yards, the touchdown. He played point guard. He found his eligibles. He countered the Brian Flores attack and blitz and the chaos that they like to induce. That was not an issue in this game. It felt like it would be early. That first drive was poor, Rodgers getting sacked, but they got Minnesota to back off to play more conventional football, and that was really important. Rodgers effective getting DK Metcalf involved. Credit to Arthur Smith for moving him around the formation. That was well documented throughout the broadcast. The 80-yard slant, that is Metcalf at his best, the catch and run ability, that second gear that he has. Calvin Austin threw a big block at the end. Those are the RBIs that Arthur Smith talks about, those downfield blocks that help spring big plays. That was already going to be a big play, but Austin blocked there, gets Metcalf into the end zone. Pittsburgh continues to be good in the red zone. Only 2 of 5, the 1 4th down call late, but he had some more red zone success, especially early in this game. So really happy with that performance overall. Running the ball, easily this team's best rushing performance. I was critical of the run game. Rightfully so. I think throughout these first 3 weeks, the coaching staff said they felt like they were close, and you finally got proof of concept of that. Jaylen Warren did not play due to a knee injury. Kenneth Gainwell became the guy, and he had the best game of his career high in single game rushing yards at 99. First 2 touchdown rushing performance of his career. He showed vision and patience. There isn't a ton of power, not a lot of speed in his game, but it was effective. He had good vision. He was able to make plays, and the line blocked really well up front. Pittsburgh played some big boy football, some bully football. The second rushing touchdown, Gainwell had a gap scheme, pulling McCormick, pulling Washington. That's kind of old school Steelers football, but it really worked today. Pittsburgh really won the point of attack, where they had struggled and lost in really all 3 games leading up to the Minnesota game. You had to run on Minnesota. They were stingy in pass defense. They couldn't dial up their blitzes like they wanted to. Pittsburgh did a better job winning on first down. We'll check those numbers when they come in by tomorrow, but I'm sure Pittsburgh had a lot more first down success than they have, and Pittsburgh was able to just run the ball, bleed a lot of clock in this one, and just be efficient, finishing drives. Without Gainwell ran well, Caleb Johnson getting some burn. So just a really good team effort offensively, whether it's guys doing the extra stuff. Austin, with his block, unfortunately, he got hurt. That could be fairly serious. We'll have to see. Tomlin said he was at the hospital post-game. Some of that might be more precautionary, but maybe we're thinking shoulder, collarbone with him. We'll just have to wait and see. Aaron Rodgers throwing a block on a Gainwell run late in this game. Just that kind of stuff you really do appreciate. Darnell Washington, Spencer Anderson played a lot as the 6th offensive lineman in this one. Pittsburgh really able to set the tone. They ran the ball early, often, consistently, and that was critical. Defensively for Pittsburgh, they took advantage of a worn-down Vikings offensive line that by game's end was missing 3 of their 5 starters at right tackle, at center, and at left guard. And Pittsburgh's front 7 was eating 6 sacks of Carson Wentz, forced 2 takeaways in this one. The defense has really stepped up. And defense, I thought, played its best game of the season, even better than New England, I think by a considerable margin, because Pittsburgh was effective on possession downs. Minnesota 6 of 17 on those possession downs, third and fourth down combined. And so Pittsburgh was able to get off the field, which they weren't doing before, and that was big. Young guys stepping up that have struggled. Keanu Benton, Peyton Wilson, their best games of the season. Benton, probably the best game of his career, 1.5 sacks in this one. He was defeating blocks in the run game. He was finishing plays. Really good for him. I know it's been a tough 3 weeks. He's probably heard the media criticism, so that's good for him. Yes, some of that may have come against backup linemen. I don't care. There were plays made. He needed them. He made them. Peyton Wilson played clean. He was impactful as well. And even though it resulted in a touchdown, his all-out sprint downfield to tackle Jordan Addison at the 1 is one of the best effort plays. You're going to see almost Ben Watson, like I think back to, while Minnesota did still score, they lost an extra minute on the clock, and that was critical given how this game ended. So just the effort alone, no matter the circumstance, no matter the outcome, was commendable. He's shown that at NC State. I did a video on that way back when. He showed it last year as a rookie. I had a video of him hawking down a Ravens player, passing up players that were loafing, and he showed it again on that tackle of Addison, a wide receiver, which is, and his first game back off suspension, but wow, you don't see that. It reminds me of the time that, who was it? Patrick Willis tackled Sean Murray. There's an old clip. If you search it, just search Patrick Willis tackle Sean Murray, himself a one-time Steeler. This was whenever Murray was in Arizona, and just kind of showed, whoa, this guy is different. He could run, but this is a much better receiver, and Addison, and just getting hawked down like that. Crazy moment. I'm rambling. I'm getting in the weeds here. It's kind of what I do, but great play there. Pittsburgh secondary getting beat up in this one. They came in without Joey Porter Jr. They lost at some points all 3 starting corners in this game, Ramsey and Slay and Eccles. I think Eccles and Slay are pretty minor. Ramsey was gutting it out, hamstring issue, so we'll see about that, but the bye week certainly will help. It put Pittsburgh in a bind. James Pierre had to pick up more snaps, almost had the game-sealing interception, but Pittsburgh got through it. I think that's certainly one reason why that Addison play was so wide open. It was right after Eccles got hurt. Pittsburgh was down to basically 2 healthy corners, 2 available corners. They put in extra safeties. Coverage got busted. Can't happen, but that's why it happened. Secondary, in terms of the safety play, Deshaun Elliott returning was big. Interception. That was off a Derek Harmon tip pass, so Harmon making an impact, playing the Cam Hayward role, getting your hands up, impacting the pass game, even when you don't get to the quarterback. TJ Watt doing the same on his interception, so the front 7 really making plays. Elliott a key 4th down tackle, a couple plays before that pick to prevent a conversion from being an even greater run that may have been a touchdown, and he gets rewarded with an interception in his first game back after missing the last 2 games. Special teams, a little rocky in this one. You had the blocked field goal. That was a big moment there. Pat Frymouth kind of giving that soft edge. Rodgers for Minnesota. Isaiah Rodgers made a nice play. So that certainly was a missed opportunity there. I thought kick coverage was good overall. Vikings had that one big run, but it was a return, I should say, but it was called back on penalty. Thankfully, I think Carson Bruner was tugged pretty good on that play. The end of the game, a lot to talk about there. Pittsburgh somehow lost this game. That would have been the focus. All the decision-making at the end, the decision to go for it, 4th and goal from the 4. I would have kicked it. I was saying that in the moment, but okay, I understand the math says go for it on multiple levels, but a 4th and goal run from the 4, even though you've been running the ball well, I think it's kind of pushing it. It didn't work. Tomlin taking the timeout before the onside kick, giving them a second chance to kick it. It worked out, but didn't like that. The decision to punt on 4th and inches. I don't know how I feel about it. The easy answer is to say go for it, and I probably would have done the same. I understand if you don't get it there. The Vikings kicker's got a big leg. He hit from 62 last week, so there's a real short field. You're trusting your defense. It had done well against that backup Vikings offensive line that had to throw. But the thing that got me was the combination of punting on 4th and inches and then booting it out of the end zone. I know you're worried about return, an all-out rush. You just want to get the punt off and play defense, but man, you gain like 20 yards on all of that. try to pin those guys back at the 8 and really put that in a tough situation. If they needed a touchdown, if you were up 27-21, then yeah, boot it out of the end zone. You still got 80 yards to defend. That's fine. But ball to 20 with that kicker like that, they only need 50 yards to probably be in range, not even, probably 40 yards to have it just take a shot and kick a 65-plus yarder and see what happens. So don't like those calls at all from Tomlin at the end, but the win will mask that. Pittsburgh still getting out snapped 72-53. Got a ton of charting to do. Time of possession 33.5 to 26-26 on Pittsburgh's end. So they've lost those battles in every single game, but they won on possession downs. They were running the football a whole lot more effectively. 11 rushing first downs in this game compared to only 6 passing. Metcalf made plays. The Stars made plays. Watt and Herbig was excellent replacing Alex Highsmith. Gainwell was excellent replacing Jalen Warren. So a lot of positives to take away from this game. Pittsburgh now 3-1, getting healthy, going into the bye. So much else to react to, so much going on in this game. And then I should mention just too, overall, getting this win for the Rooney family. You know how much this game meant for the Rooney family. I'm sure they had not desired a regular season game as much as this one in quite some time, at least one that did not have direct playoff implications. So this one meant a lot to the family and to the organization itself. And so that makes the plane ride back to Dublin a whole lot happier, obviously, but it's going to make Rooney extremely happy. But back in 97, they were angling for a win in the preseason when the game didn't count. They were really jonesing for a win, the first ever regular season home game in Ireland. Pittsburgh, the quote-unquote home team. It certainly felt like a home game. It ends with a home win. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Appreciate you guys watching. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, check out the site, SteelersDepot.com. Thank you again, and we'll talk to you soon.